Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 12, Episode 11. And before we go any further, I want to give out a few disclaimers to any Teresa fans watching. I just want to let you know that I have nothing nice or positive to say about your girl. Teresa was wrong. And before anybody starts with, well, Brooke, Margaret did the same thing to Danielle when she poured water in her hair at that bridal shop. Yup, Margaret was wrong for that. But I didn't have a YouTube channel then, so I couldn't express my feelings about that. However, we're not talking about the past. We're talking about right now and what happened in this latest episode. And Teresa was dead wrong. Also, I'm curious to see what Andy has to say about Teresa's behavior at the reunion, because we know how he gets when it comes to violence on the Black franchises. He likes to chastise and tell people how they're wrong. We see it on Potomac where he's always getting on Candace about her mouth. And last season of Potomac, we saw Candace and Mia get into it, and lettuce was thrown, and insults exchanged. And of course, he got on her. So I'm really hoping that Andy keeps the same energy for Teresa, because I don't like how on the white franchises, glasses can get thrown and tables can get flipped over, but it's cute and it's iconic. But let a Black franchise get crazy. Now it's just the worst thing in the world, and this is Bravo, this is not VH1 or Love and Hip Hop, now it's all that. Jersey has always been a high-key, very violent franchise since the inception. Season 1 finale, Teresa turned that dinner at that restaurant out. Okay? But let me not jump ahead. Let's just jump right on into this recap, because you already know that I have a lot to say and we don't have a minute to spare. We start off this episode with Dolores, and I was surprised because Dolores doesn't really have a storyline. But anyhow, she's at her renovated house, and her kids are there, and Frank arrives. Frank is officially moving in, and he can't wait. He has his old clothes and ill-fitting suits from 1994. I'm like, Frank, it is 2022. Why do you still have a 20-something-year-old suit in your closet? And when they showed the picture of him in that green suit when their daughter was a baby, I was like, child, it didn't look good then, it doesn't look good now. And I was screaming at how their son, Frank Jr., could not stop laughing at the clothes, because even he knows that his dad needs a complete makeover. So Dolores says in her confessional that this is going to be a change for Frank and the kids, because Frank has never lived with the kids before. So their children are joking around with Frank about how he can't have any hoes come over. He needs to be in this house in that bedroom by himself. So he's like, okay, you know what, that's cool. But honestly, Frank is a grown-ass man, and he needs his own space. And I don't understand why he needs to live in their home. Why can't he get his own place? I'm sure that Frank has a nice coin. I know he does contracting, and he also gets paid because all the house husbands on Jersey are the only ones who get some money. So I know that Bravo's paying him a nice salary. So again, why does he have to live with them? Why can't he just live on his own? Like I've said in pretty much every single recap, Dolores is a lot nicer than I am, because there is no way that an ex-husband of mine who cheated on me, called me all these names when we were married, would be profiting off of me being on a reality show. Like, Frank's name would not even be said on this show. If it were up to me, it would be like, Frank who? I would make production blur his name out anytime somebody mentioned him. He would not be making $1 off of me. I can tell you that. But I've told you guys repeatedly that I am kind of petty, and I do hold a grudge, so yeah. And no, I'm not proud of that, okay? I'm trying to be better, because it's not good to hold on to unforgiveness. I know. I'm working on it. I'm just not there yet. I'm not there at all, but a girl can try. So now we see Dolores talking to Frank about the Nashville trip. She's excited. She says that the house that they're going to be staying at is gorgeous. Tracy's friend out there hooked them up with the Airbnb, and she cannot wait. So Frank is really excited as well. And again, I don't understand why Frank needs to be included on this couples trip. Him and Dolores are divorced. Does Frank not have his own set of friends? Like, why is he at every single group outing? At this rate, Dolores and Frank might as well just get back together because they're like a couple. Then Dolores brings up that she's kind of stressed out because Teresa and Margaret aren't getting along. And we know how Teresa is when she's upset with somebody. She will ruin the entire vibe. So now we move on to Teresa. And before we get into this scene, let me just quickly say that when it comes to these shows, I don't hate someone or dislike somebody for the sake of disliking them. I start off with every franchise, liking everybody, and then when they show their behinds, then I have an issue. I think that Teresa is lovely in certain settings. When she was on Ultimate Girls Trip, I absolutely was a big fan. But here on her own franchise, this season, not at all. Okay, so let me just clear that up. Y'all know that I try to be as objective as I can be. I try my best. And I just have to call it the way I see it and just say how I feel. But Teresa, this season, no ma'am. But anyhow, the day has finally come where they are all moving out of the girls' childhood home. We remember when Teresa moved into this house, the beginning of season 2, she was over the moon. She was beyond excited. I remember when she bought all that furniture in season 1, how she wanted everything to be marble and onyx and all that good stuff. But baby, they are finally moving out. It is the end of an era. Teresa is emotional. She's going over all the good times that she had in that house when her parents would come over, when she was still married to Joe. And, you know, she's emotional. And I have to say, Teresa has a bit of that Giselle syndrome where I only find them likable when they have their scenes with their daughters. So Teresa and her girls say their goodbyes. They close the door for the last time, and now they are on their way to their new home with Louie and their soon-to-be stepbrothers. So while Teresa's in the car driving to the new house, Melissa calls her. So she's, congratulating them on the move, and then she brings up the Nashville trip. So she's like, are you excited? Like, it's going to be so much fun. Teresa, of course, has an attitude, and she's like, yeah, it will be nice to get away for a few days, but I'm not excited to see Margaret because Margaret cannot stop talking about Louie. Now, I'm like, Teresa, I understand that you're annoyed. That's fine, whatever. However, let's be logical for like 5 seconds, please. Is it really the worst thing in the world if your friend has concerns about the allegations that she hears about your new boyfriend? I understand you might not want to hear it. I understand it might be aggravating. However, for you to be this upset, it's disproportionate to what Margaret has said. At the end of the day, the blogs are reporting these stories about your boyfriend, not Margaret. Also, I won't let you forget how you did Jackie. You sat at Jackie and Evan's party last season and you went around and you spread rumors about Evan cheating. Did you or did you not? That was very cruel of you to do that. So for you to be so upset now when you feel like somebody's talking about your man, well, where was this concern for Jackie when you were doing this about her husband, Evan? I cannot stand the way Teresa has a double standard about things. She can do whatever she wants. She can do no wrong, but let somebody return that same energy to her, and now it's a problem. And again, I'm not saying that Margaret is a saint or that her hands are clean, because she does a lot of messy stuff too, and she's a busybody. I'm not denying that. However, Teresa has no right to be this upset, especially if the rumors aren't true, because I remember she told Jackie, well, if the rumors aren't true, like, stand by your man then. Did she not? So if the rumors aren't true about Louis, then brush them off and stand by your man. And you shouldn't be so angry. Now, I do agree that Margaret should have just dropped it after the first 2 episodes about Teresa's man. But other than that, I don't really see the harm in having some questions and concerns if you hear some crazy stuff about your friend's man. Just saying. And I thought it was so funny when Teresa had the nerve to say, and Margaret better behave. I said, girl, you are the wrong person to discuss anybody behaving themselves. So now Teresa and her daughters pull up to their brand new house, and it is absolutely stunning. So we see Teresa and Louis giving the girls a house tour and showing them all their bedrooms. Stunning. Teresa's room is gorgeous. The closet is amazing. And now they go outside, and the backyard was like chef's kiss. Again, Teresa does have very good taste when it comes to furnishing and decorating. I will give her that. So now, while they're outside, Louis has a surprise for Teresa, and we see that Louis put an Italian phrase that Teresa always says. He has it carved into the ground. So she's crying, she's really happy. The girls are crying, and they're thanking Louis for the surprise and for picking out such a gorgeous home. Now we flip over to the next scene, and it's everybody packing for Nashville. We see Melissa and Joe at home. They're super excited. And of course, they're talking about the drama between Margaret and Teresa. And Melissa makes a joke like, why can't Teresa get along with any of my friends? I'm like, Melissa, you should know the answer to that question. Teresa doesn't like you, so it's not really a surprise that she wouldn't like anybody that you associate with. Then we see Jackie and Evan. They're excited for the trip, but Jackie's nervous because of all the drama in the group. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how fabulous the accommodations are. It always sucks to know at the pit of your stomach that there's going to be some drama on a group trip. Just knowing like it's going to go left sometime during this vacation, that's a very shitty feeling. And you could feel that Jackie is definitely uneasy about this whole vacation. But she's trying to be optimistic. But we know how this goes. We know how Teresa is. So things are always going to go left real fast. So now we see Teresa and Louis packing for the trip. And of course, Teresa's going on and on about Margaret, how Margaret's not her friend, how she has bad intentions, and how Margaret's pretty much dead to her until she apologizes. It is so hilarious to me that Teresa, a woman who cannot utter the words, I'm sorry, if her life depended on it, is always wanting an apology from somebody else. So now it's the day of the trip. Everybody is super pumped. Bill is going to be arriving later on because I think that he had a surgery to do. And I said, are you sure that that's the reason why? I just have my good eye on Bill, honey. Ever since I found out that he cheated on her when she was 9 months pregnant 10 years ago, and these current rumors about him, I'm like, So they touch down in Nashville, and there are 2 Sprinter vans to take them to the house. So we see Margaret and her husband Joe, Melissa and Joe, Tracy and Tiki, Jackie and Evan in 1 Sprinter van, and then Jen with Frank and Dolores, and Teresa and Louis. So of course, Teresa is talking about Margaret. I said, the way that you say that she's always talking about you and Louis, you sure talk about her a lot. Because I'll be damned if I give all my attention to somebody that I don't like on a vacation. I'm not doing that. I am very good at ignoring people. I would never give anybody the satisfaction of thinking that I'm pressed. And the fact that she went the whole entire van ride talking about how she can't stand the sight of Margaret, how Margaret better leave her alone this whole trip. It's like, girl, I just don't understand why you have to keep bringing this up. Y'all just touched down in a new city. Why can't you just be happy and be in a good mood? Teresa is one of those people that because she's in a lousy mood, everybody else has to be in that same headspace with her. And again, that's not how this works. Also, it's very self-centered of you to bring the conversation back to you and your problems and your beefs and your feuds with folks in the group. Nobody wants to hear that. So they pull up to the house that they're going to be staying at for the next few days, and the home is gorgeous. They're really excited. The realtor greets them, and we find out that the realtor is a friend of Tracy's. And on top of that, her and Margaret used to know each other back in the day. So Margaret's like, oh my gosh, like, hey, Chris, how are you? Like, long time no see. And Jackie makes a joke that Margaret knows everybody. So now it's time for the fun part of every single cast trip, and that's for everybody to decide who gets the best room in the house. So off rip, Teresa says that she and Louis deserve the best room. So Melissa and Margaret are like, girl, what? Like, why? And I've said this a million times, but the host or hostess of the trip deserves to have the best room. Period. I always think that it's very rude when the other women who don't plan the trip, Ramona and Sonia, I'm looking at you guys because you guys also pull it every season on New York. But I just think that it's in very poor taste to just claim the best room when you're not the one who planned the trip. Like, who are you? So now Dolores interjects and she's like, you know what? It's okay, guys. I had promised Teresa the best room because her and Louis are lovebirds. And they're all like, really, Dolores? Like, Teresa and Louis get it in 24/7. They do not need this trip to have more sex. Like, they will be okay. So while Teresa and Louis have already gotten the master bedroom, everybody else is checking out their rooms. And honestly, all the rooms were pretty. So here's where the stupidity starts. Jackie's getting settled in her room. And now Teresa and Jen go to her room to talk. So Teresa's asking Jackie how she's doing because Jackie seemed a bit quiet at the baseball game the other day. So Jackie's like, yeah, because you were being mean to my friend Margaret. So now Teresa gets nasty and she says, you're smart, right, Jackie? I said, Teresa, don't do it, girl. We've seen you get pissed when people come for your intelligence. So now Teresa starts raising her voice and she says that every time something came out about Louis on the blogs, Margaret was right there running her mouth. And then she adds that she just has a feeling deep down inside that Margaret is the one who's talking to the bloggers. So now Jackie says, Teresa, can you stop? That's not true at all. You're getting yourself worked up in a tizzy over something that isn't true. So at this point, you already know that Jackie and Teresa are going back and forth. Of course, Teresa is screaming at the top of her lungs because that's what she does best. She can never just have a civil disagreement with somebody. It always has to turn into a screaming match. May I just say, I definitely have my moments where I'm like, I really don't know how I would do on a Real Housewives franchise because I am very, very sensitive when it comes to tone. If you disagree with me about something, that's fine. But take the bass out of your voice, okay? Bring it down a few decibels and talk to me like you have some sense. Because you start screaming at me, now I start screaming like I don't have any sense, and now we're both screaming. And then there are the times where I'm like, you know what, I actually would be good for the show, because if somebody did start screaming, the best way to really just get somebody together is by talking to them normally. Like while they're going crazy, just talking to them and being real condescending with it. Like, oh, really? Like, oh, okay. Like, you mad? Like, you seem real mad. And that actually gets people more upset than if you scream back at them. But do I really want to deal with going to work knowing that I'm fighting with somebody day in and day out? That really can't be fun. I know that for all the money that these women make on The Real Housewives, that has to take a toll on you mentally to know that you're going to have to deal with constant arguing. That's not fun. And do you really want to be in a position where you have to always have a prepared read in mind in case somebody tries you? That would get old real fast. But then again, if somebody's offering high 6 figures, 7 figures, all these brand deals, you are getting fame, I guess I could argue with a few folks. But let me not get off topic, okay? Let me just continue discussing what happened in this episode. We can talk about all that later on. I'm gonna go live one of these days. It's been a long time, but we need to just chop it up in real time and just have a ball. But I've been in a funk for some months, but coming out of it, so you guys can't expect a live, okay? So now Jackie and Teresa finally stopped arguing. Jackie's like, girl, I don't want to hear this. Like, please, it's enough already. So, of course, Jackie tells Margaret what just happened, and Margaret is pissed. Margaret's like, at this point, Teresa is an effing nutcase, and if she says this again, it's gonna be me and her. So, of course, we see Teresa talking to Louis yet again about Margaret. She's saying that she's pissed off and how Margaret better stay away from her the rest of the trip. I'm like, you do know that Margaret has no desire to be around you either, right? So now we see everybody getting ready for dinner, and Bill has arrived. He is in Nashville, and the party can truly begin. So all the guys are excited to see Bill. Joe says that he's just so happy that they're reunited again because when they were on the outs, he was actually kind of sad. Then he goes on to say that he just hopes that everybody can put their differences aside and he wants all the ladies to get along. And side note, I think that that jumpsuit that Jen had on for dinner, that was her best look. I thought she looked really good. I said, Jen, I want you to always look like this. You did that. So before they all get on the Sprinter van to head to the restaurant, Margaret pulls Jackie to the side and she says, you know what, Jackie? We might have to address Teresa at dinner tonight. And Jackie's like, oh Lord, like, can we have a nice dinner, please? Like, you really don't want any peace tonight because if you do that, then you already know that things are going to go left. But anyhow, they finally arrived to dinner and that barbecue place looked amazing. When I go to Nashville, I want to go where they went because it looked like so much fun. The food looked good. You already know that my mouth was watering because I love barbecue. I'm a meat and potatoes girl. Like, I love a steak, like I love a cheeseburger, and especially like a pulled pork sandwich on like a really soft roll with some pickles. Stop it. Stop. But we are not here to discuss food, okay? I'm getting carried away yet again. So anyhow, they place their food and drink orders, and while the food is getting ready, they walk over to ride the bull. Melissa gets on the bull first, and I could not stop laughing when Frank said, now your wife is finally gonna ride a real man. Melissa gets on that bull, and she lasts like 2 seconds, okay? She was on and off. Grand opening, grand closing. And when I tell you that riding a mechanical bull is no joke, I did it a few years ago. Baby, I was on that bull for maybe like 3 seconds tops. So now Jackie gets on the bull. Baby, she was on that bull for like 3 seconds as well. Teresa hops on the bull. She doesn't last either. They want Margaret to get on the bull. And she's like, no, I'm wearing my dress. I don't have the right shoes. I'm like, Margaret, do you always have to have an excuse? Like, get on the damn bull. You should have put some shorts underneath the dress so that you could get on the bull. But anyhow, of course, Teresa is rolling her eyes at Margaret not getting on. I'm like, once again, Why are you so fixated on somebody that you can't stand? It should never be this deep. Like, you don't need to make faces every time Margaret says something. I don't get it. It's annoying. It's weird. So now it's time for all the husbands to get on the bull. Bill gets on the bull first. He doesn't really last that long, maybe like 4 seconds. Then we see Frank. He's on it for 6 seconds. Now, all that mess that Frank talked, I just knew that he was going to be the winner of the bull riding. I said, only 6 seconds, Frank? Now, Joe Gorga gets on, and when I tell you that I was surprised, he did a great job. He was on that bull for 12 seconds. So last but not least, Tiki Barber gets on the bull, and he wins the challenge. He is on the bull for 14 seconds. So here's where I was screaming at the TV. Jen says in her confessional that she's not surprised that Tiki won and how she enjoys riding Tiki. So I'm like, wait, sis, you enjoy riding who? Like, say that again? Like, what? Then when she caught her mistake, she was like, oh my gosh, no, I meant I just enjoy watching him ride, not riding him. I said that slip up was something else, but it's okay, Jen, because your husband went out and had somebody else riding him 10 years ago. So if you wish that you were riding Tiki, more power to you. So they're finished with the bull riding. Everybody's in great spirits at this point. They go back to the table and they start going over tomorrow's itinerary. So Melissa says that since they're all in Nashville, they should all make a country song together. So everybody's laughing at the idea, but they're on board. Margaret makes a joke about how Melissa would be Diana Ross. So of course, Teresa, since she can't stand Margaret, she doesn't want to hear anything that Margaret has to say, she interjects and says something really snide. And it's like, again, Teresa, why can't you just be in a good mood? Why is it so hard for you to just be cordial? Why do you always have to go out of your way to bring the mood down? So now the conversation changes gears, and the topic of Margaret knowing Tracy's friend Chris, who was the realtor earlier in the episode, they want to know, how does Margaret know Chris? So before Margaret can even answer, Teresa interjects and says, yeah, because Margaret knows everybody, right, Margaret? Teresa keeps badgering Margaret. She's like, yeah, because Margaret, you know every Tom, Dick, and Harry. So now Margaret says, you know what? The gloves are off. If you want to go there, then let's go. I heard that you're saying that I'm talking to bloggers and people in Louis' past. How would I know anybody from Louis' past? Margaret and Teresa go back and forth. And then Margaret says in her confessional that she does not spread rumors and how she's been a great friend to Teresa in the past. So anyhow, Teresa yells out that Margaret's the one who put all these rumors out there. So now Margaret is really fed up and she's like, look, Teresa, you are a disgusting liar. Child, what happens next reminded me of Potomac season 5. I said, here we go again. Teresa goes completely apeshit and throws the drink at Margaret. And the way she did it, she pretty much wiped out the whole entire table. So now there's glass all on the ground. It's just a hot mess. Margaret's in shock. The whole table is like, what the F just happened? That went from 0 to 100 for no reason. Teresa is cursing at the top of her lungs. She's calling Margaret white trash. I said, girl, how are you calling Margaret white trash when you just threw drinks at her? Make it make sense. And if I were Margaret, it would have been lights out. I will never hit someone first. I will never put my hands on somebody first. But when you violate me, all bets are off. And I do believe in self-defense. And I have some very quick reflexes too. So I would have jumped across that table so fast, y'all wouldn't have seen it coming. I just can't get with people who have to resort to that. It's like, you cannot like me, you can argue with me all day long, but when you cross the line, now we have a problem. Teresa behaves like a wild animal, and her justification for things is crazy. You're in the wrong. You can't justify that. You had no right to throw a drink in Margaret's face, period. And what really gets me is the fact that they were just having a great time like 30 minutes ago, and now the whole night is ruined. So while Melissa, Joe, and Louie are trying to calm Teresa down, she's still screaming and cursing at Margaret. Margaret's screaming back at her, and she says, it's a good thing you're not on parole. So now Teresa really gets upset. And I said, girl, you deserve that. You throw a drink at me? I'm calling you everything but a child of God. I'm hitting below the belt. Okay? I mean, I'm going below the belt. Please know that. So now Teresa, Melissa, Joe, and Louie are downstairs trying to calm Teresa down. Teresa is just talking at a mile a minute. She's going on about how she wants to go back upstairs and curse Margaret out some more. So Melissa and Joe are like, girl, you better not go back up there. Like, just calm down. You've ruined the night. Like, just stop. Now we see Margaret upstairs at the table with everybody else. She is livid. She's like, who behaves like that? Like, who does that? So now we see Teresa run back up the stairs to curse Margaret out some more. I'm like, Teresa, you really need some help. At your big age, to be acting like this is pathetic. You already started this whole entire mess. You ruined this really nice outing. And now for you to want to go back upstairs and start some more mess is just really sad. So now Teresa, Louie, Joe, Melissa, Jen, and Bill all leave out the restaurant. And Teresa is in the Sprinter van going nuts, and she keeps calling Margaret white trash. I said again, how dare you fix your lips to call Margaret anything of the sort? And if I were Melissa and Joe, I wouldn't have gone back on that Sprinter. I would have said, you know what, I'm staying here. I'm hungry. I came to have a good time. And I don't care if she would have been upset. Be mad. You've been mad at me before. We haven't talked before for years, so it wouldn't be like it's the first time. I just really can't stand how Joe and Melissa are low-key afraid of Teresa. So now we see everybody else back at the restaurant. They're trying to salvage the rest of this dinner. So Margaret says, there's no coming back from this. And I completely agree, because once you cross that line, once you get physical with me, once you lay a hand on me, once you violate me, once you throw a drink at me, it is over. Okay? I'm not forgiving you. We're not talking about anything. There is no more discussion. It's done. Teresa is a sorry individual who cannot take ownership of anything. And because she can't articulate herself well, she has to resort to fighting. So Dolores says, look, what Teresa did was crazy, but I have to say that she's acting like this because Louie is her lifeline. And like I said earlier, Teresa is deathly afraid of Louie walking out of her life, and that's the real reason why she is so scared if somebody asks him a simple question. Because she does not want her fantasy of this man that she's built up in her head to be ruined. She does not want him to walk out of her life. She needs him. Then Dolores says, look, you have a right to feel how you feel about Louie, but you don't need to express that to her. We all know how Teresa is. And I do agree with that too. If I were Margaret, I would have mentioned the rumors once and left it at that. But Margaret went wrong, talking about it, saying how concerned she was in the first few episodes. You know how Teresa is. Teresa is somebody who's very hard-headed and has to learn for herself. You can't be more concerned about her partner than she is. If Teresa likes it, then just say, you know what, that's fine. It is what it is. I hope you're happy. I wish you the best of luck. And also, Teresa is one of those people where if you're not telling her what she wants to hear, it's an automatic fight. It's a very bad way to be when you can't hear other people's perspectives on something. That's very sad. And Teresa doesn't want friends. She wants fans and sycophants. That's what she really wants. And that's why her and Jen get along so well, because Jen is too scared to challenge her on anything. But Jen, mark my words that one day you'll get tired of kissing Teresa's ass and she'll be turning on you next. Nobody can sustain a one-sided relationship for that long. So now we flip back to Teresa, Louis, Melissa, Jen, Joe, Gorga, and Bill back on the bus. And even Louis is upset that Teresa threw a drink in Margaret's face. And Teresa, who can't own up to anything, keeps saying that Margaret's the one who started this whole thing because she's been talking about them since the beginning. I'm like, Teresa, why can't you just acknowledge that you're the one who started all this mess at dinner? So the six of them get back to the house. Teresa is screaming at the top of her lungs how much she hates Margaret, how she's done, and they are leaving the house and staying at a hotel.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
We see Teresa and Louis packing their bags, honey, and they are gone. I said, good riddance. I said, do us all a favor and just go back to Jersey. Okay? I don't want to see you for the remainder of this trip. You have already brought the entire mood down on the first night. I don't care what anybody says. Teresa is a very miserable woman. So we end the episode with Margaret saying that at the end of the day, she hopes that everything works out for Teresa and Louis, and how if Teresa truly felt like Louis were a good guy, she wouldn't be acting like this. And again, I agree. Louis has a bit too many allegations for my taste, and you guys gave me the tea in the last two recaps about how Louis is filing for bankruptcy, his money's not right, how, he's just in a whole lot of mess. So again, I will not be surprised if Teresa ends up with egg on her face. And then we see Melissa texting Margaret that Teresa has packed up and left the house and is going to a hotel. But y'all, this episode had me so heated. Teresa was out of line. And I really hope that for all of you guys who are Teresa fans, I hope that y'all can be objective and admit that your fave was wrong. She was wrong. There's no two ways about it. If Margaret had thrown a drink in Teresa's face, I would be saying the same thing about Margaret. Teresa knew what she was getting into when she brought Louis on this show. Everybody knows that when you bring a spouse, a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend on the show, their skeletons are going to come out the closet and folks are going to start talking and trying to dig up information. We know how this goes. Teresa, you've been on this show now for almost 13 years. Stop acting brand new. You run your mouth about other people. When folks run their mouth about you, you can't be upset about that. Take it on the chin and deal with it. But all this going crazy, wanting to get violent, like, you're out of your mind. Again, I really hope that Andy gets on you about that because it wasn't right. And I'm so tired of the white franchises skating by with the violence, but when the black franchises get a little bit violent, it's just the worst thing in the world. I didn't think that any of this was cute or funny or amusing. It's really sad. A woman at her big age throwing a drink. Grow up. And you have 4 daughters watching this. But let me not go off on a tangent, y'all. I hope you all enjoyed the recap. Thank you all for watching. And as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.